Lately, I found myself in a few conflicts in relationship. Well, not like direct conflicts, but more like they interrupted my peace. Going through conflicts is always very painful for me, and a lot of times I want to escape this kind of discomfort. I would try to do things to fix the relationships or become the peacemaker, people pleaser in order to not sit with discomfort. But this time, something is different. I started to realize I cannot keep living like this anymore. To shrink myself in relationships in order to keep the harmony. That is actually a very selfish act. I also am avoiding my personal spiritual growth by avoiding conflicts. And by avoiding conflicts, I will have to hide my true self behind a mask of that I think people will like, which is not truly who I am. When I'm not truly who I am, I can't speak the truth. Therefore, I suffer because everything that I do and I say is a lie to myself that I am not living authentically as I am. It is very easy to point fingers at the other person in the conflict and create even more suffering at heart. It is very easy to become the victim in the conflict and say, this is what they do to me. This is not fair. Why they keep doing this? Without realizing everything happens for a reason. Nothing is coincidence. Our unconscious is manifesting all of this to us so we can realize that we are not the victim. We're exactly the people who attract these events to our life in order for us to realize what's really in us that is making all of this happening. If there's part of you that you never look at and you never realize, it will manifest something in other people to show that to you who you really are. For instance, if you're selfish, then you'll be very sensitive to people who are selfish. And in some of the events, your friends, your families, or people just around you that trigger you and drag you into conflict and point fingers at the other person, saying why you're so selfish. And when you ask that question, maybe pause for a second and ask yourself, what part of me that is selfish that I didn't see? What part of me that is unreasonable that I don't see? I know it is very hard to do the work, and your ego will try so hard to justify everything, to make you feel like you're the one that's right, to make you feel like you're the one that should win this argument. If you let ego overtalk, if you let ego takes over, then you will continue to attract this kind of events until one day you realize maybe all of these are not their faults. All of these is because I am not able to look within. You might be trying very hard to run away from yourself, from the shadow part of yourself. And the more you run away, the shadow manifests itself into your life. You will be forced to see it. So why not just see it now? That's why I say take every conflict as an opportunity for awakening. When you see a conflict happen in your life, take a deep breath, step back, and see and feel what you're feeling. Sit with this kind of feeling. And try to look at things from different perspectives, not just from your own perspective. Look at it from the other person's perspective, from a third person's angle. And then you'll realize that things are not the way how you think. And you'll realize that we're all just suffering in this conflict all together. That we are all facing an equal opportunity to realize what is true about myself. I hope you find light in what you're going through.